Hello and welcome to Sexy FM with me, Mark Goldbridge, Latvia's #1 adult radio station. Between the hours of 2am and 4am, we're taking your calls, so get your latex on, crack that whip, and let's get dirty. Wrong radio station. Or is it? Hello, I'm Mark Goldbridge. This is the United Stand, and a little one-off treat for you tonight. We've uploaded the podcast, the United Stand podcast, to this channel to basically promote it. Please download it. Let's make it one of Manchester United's #1 podcasts. All the links are in the description below. It's a weekly podcast. The velvet tones, the smooth voice of Paul Gardner is our host, smoother than Pep Guardiola's head. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Give it a listen, make it part of your working week, just don't let your boss know, and give it a download. But a special treat for you, a one-off promotion of our podcast. Get listening, get downloading, and make it part of your United Stand routine. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll be back tomorrow night at 5pm, live with the team news for Fenerbahce, Manchester United. Until then, let's get it on.
Yeah, you wouldn't come out of here today and say that it was all Burnley's great defending. I mean, United got through them so many times, created so many chances and should have taken them. It's just not happening for them at the moment. I mean, Ibrahimović, who is a good finisher, scored goals all over the world. I mean, he'll not believe it tonight when he goes home that he's not scored a goal in that match.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is the United Stand weekly podcast, and I am your host, Paul Gardner. And as always, joining me is Ashley. How are you today, Ashley?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Yourself?
I would say I can't complain, but after the weekend of football, I can complain lots.
Yeah.
But let's not focus on the negative straight away. Let's look at something positive to start with, shall we? Let's look at the result against Man City, a game that I didn't expect us to win. I don't know about anybody else, but for one, I was very sort of pessimistic about this game. We didn't go in the game with a lot of confidence, not long losing to Chelsea 4-0. I didn't feel confident about it. I was worried about it. But in the end, we won. We won 1-0. It was a good performance from the team. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same as yourself, really. Before the game, I was a little bit apprehensive, thinking, you know, this is the last thing we need after the abysmal performance against Chelsea. But I got to be honest, as soon as I saw the team sheets, I thought, you know, this is really there for us to go out and make a statement. Yeah, looking at that team sheet, although there's so much around social media and everything saying City played their reserves, they didn't play their reserves. They played 6, arguably 7 of their first team players. So it wasn't a weak City side by any stretch. But
no, you're right. No, I got to jump in there because I've seen a lot of people saying that as well online, and it annoyed me. I think they had 2 players that were sort of what you call youngsters. There was that Mafia at right back. And I forget his name, played in midfield.
Garcia,
but apart from that,
Alex Garcia or something, was it, I think?
Something like that. But look, rest of their team, they're Premier League winning players.
Yeah, you had the likes of Otamendi, Company, Clichy, Fernando. You had Nolito, they just bought for quite a lot of money. They had a good squad out.
They did, so I'm not buying into that. We played our reserves. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good, yeah. No, but, as soon as I saw that team sheet and I saw it compared with our team sheet, I thought, if you could look at the two sides, I think we've got a really good chance to go out and make a statement. And that first half just completely didn't put my fears to bed at all. It was a shocking first half of football. There was nothing in it. I mean, the first 10 minutes, we looked a little bit shaky, in my opinion. Navas got down the right hand side at Luke Shaw once or twice. Looked a little bit cagey, but you can expect that from Luke Shaw. He hasn't had a lot of football in the last couple of months, so you can expect him to be a little bit shaky. But other than that, we didn't look troubled at all. Okay, we didn't press much ourselves. We had 1 or 2 half chances, but it was a massive comparison to the second half. I thought the second half we came out, we looked reinvigorated. Really, we came out, we took the game to City, and it was all Manchester United in the second half. And we got the goal finally. I think we should have had a couple more, maybe looking at the two sides. But yeah, in the end, I thought I was disappointed, to be honest, that we didn't get more than just the one. But yeah, thoroughly deserved victory in my opinion.
No, I agree absolutely. For me, it was a great win, not just for the teams, for the team and the team's morale. It wasn't just a great win for the fans to give us bragging rights, but for me, it was more of a win for Jose.
Yeah.
Especially with all the media hatred. I'm sure a lot of people would use the same word, media hatred towards him. and I'll go more into that a little bit later on. But just for Jose, really, I was happy for him more than anything else to get that win. So I think just he needed that just to get a bit of attention away from him.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that the second half was completely different, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Nobody would disagree. I'm not sure what Jose said to them at half time, but there were players on there that were having a shocking game, Ibrahimović included. That was probably one of his worst games he's had in his career, probably. Worst halves in his career. And in the second half, although he didn't score, he played a lot better. And the likes of Luke Shaw as well. I mean, like you say just a minute ago, he was getting beaten left, right and centre against Navas, but in the second half, Navas couldn't find a way past him. In fact, Navas halfway through the second half switched to the other side.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't really fault the defence in the game. The defence was solid as usual. And again, we'll talk about the defence a little bit later on as well, because there's some interesting news coming out recently about our defenders.
If I can say though, sorry to jump in, but about the defence, I saw as you did on social media, a lot of people saying about that City played their reserves and everything. You've got to look at that City squad with the players that they had, also not including Sterling and Aguero who came on. If you look at that Manchester United defence, we had 3 left backs and a right wing in that defence.
Yeah, we did.
There's 3 left backs and a right winger. Arguably, we had Rojo in the heart of that defence, and we all know how he can perform. And they didn't have a shot on target in the whole game. So that just goes to show that that the organisation is there. It's just a case of, I think, just keeping it consistent and making sure Jose gets his point across what he needs the players to do. I think.
Absolutely, and it still seems like he's struggling to get some sort of rhythm going. I hate using the word rhythm because it's a word that he used a lot, or rhythm. But yeah, it's a shame we can't continue that on a string of games, because I hate to move away from the positive so quickly, but the City game was days ago now. We've just witnessed something we don't want to witness too often. That opposite to the City game, going into the Burnley game, I was the most optimistic person you could meet.
Yeah,
I was predicting scores like 3 or 4-0 to Man United. I thought, we're going to go into this game, we're going to bang goals.
Yeah,
we're going to go in there confident after that Man City win. It might not have been a pretty first half, but we came out with a win. We're going to be full of confidence. It's Burnley, it's at home.
Yeah,
I thought, this is going to be a great game to watch. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to be celebrating at the end. I'm going to put a nice tweet out for a change.
Yeah.
Ashley. It felt like a kick to the groin when that full-time whistle went. Talk to me, Ashley. Cheer me up. What went wrong?
I've literally, as you said, when that final whistle went, I literally couldn't believe what I'd seen. How on earth did we not score against that Burnley side? Granted, okay, at times, they did defend rather astutely at times, but saying that, and I've had a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people on social media say things like, well, the Burnley defence, they put their bodies on the line. They didn't. We cut through them like butter at times. There was
37 shots, says it all.
Exactly. Time after time, it was a simple 1 or 2 passes, and we were in behind that defence. I don't know, on numerous occasions. And it's just, I think, it's a reflection of what's been happening, I think, in the last couple of weeks. It's that final ball. Although we had 37 shots on target, and granted, there was a few shots that, the Mata hitting the post, Ibrahimović hitting the crossbar. I'm not even going to go into that Ibrahimović miss in the last couple of minutes, but I just feel that, is it a confidence issue? I really don't know what it is. It's just we're not ruthless. We're not clinical enough. And whether that be a personnel issue, a tactical issue, but I'm not one to say that, oh, well, okay, we'll just put it down to one of those games. But for that amount of possession that we had, for that amount of shots, chances, stupid efforts missed, it must have just been one of them days. And I'm not usually inclined to say that. But after, I literally don't even know how. There must have been something against us in that game. There must have been some forces at play, because how that ball didn't end up in the back of the net, I'll have no idea.
I don't know if you've seen my tweet after that game, Ashley, but it really boils my blood when someone says, "Oh, it was just one of those games."
Yeah, I know. I'm the same.
We can't. It happened against Stoke. I put a tweet. The same thing again.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same. Although we had a lot more chances in this game.
Yeah.
But against Stoke, we were getting quite a lot of chances, and their keeper was absolutely phenomenal. I forget who it was in goal for Stoke in that game.
Yeah.
But their goalkeeper was phenomenal. He got man of the match as well, as I'm sure Tom Heaton did.
Yeah, he did.
But when people say, "Oh, it's just one of those games," I'm thinking, no. When that happened against Stoke, I said we can't keep saying that. We've had a lot of these games recently, and it's just one of those games. But it's not just one of those games when it's costing you points.
Yeah, game after
game. We need the win. Yeah. Exactly. It might not be game after game, but when we get games like that, it's you can't use that excuse. It's just one of those games, because when you have 37 shots on not on target, but 37 shots, with a third of them being on target, one of them's got to go in. I think people say it could be a confidence issue when it comes to Ibrahimović. I'm not buying that at all. I just think he's just not on top of his game right now. I don't think it's a confidence issue because, like he said, he's played in all the biggest leagues in the world. Granted, he hasn't played in the Premier League until now. Yeah. But his goal scoring record says it all. I just think he's just off his game at the moment, and it'll come good. He'll start banging in the goals, but he needs to do it quickly. Yeah. Otherwise, he needs to be dropped. And I'll tell you, he should be playing there, and that's Marcus Rashford. Yeah. I'm sick of seeing him playing on the left wing because he's not a winger. Nope. He very rarely beats his first man. Okay, is 1 in 10 of his crosses actually get pulled back into the box, and it sounds like I'm attacking him, but I'm not. I'm defending him. We're saying no, don't put him there. Yeah. Put him where he's supposed to be. Most of his goals come from that central position. Yeah. On the penalty spot, on the edge of the 6-yard box, to be there because his positioning sense as a number 9 is fantastic. Yeah. That's where most of his goals came from last season. That brace he got against Arsenal, both goals, right on the edge of the 6-yard box. Yeah. Because he knows where to be, and that is where he should be playing. Because, like you say, and rightly so, with that pace at the number 9, it'll force the defence back. Yeah, because Ibra's always dropping deep all the time, probably because he's not getting the service. So, like Rooney used to have to do, come and drop deep all the time to pick up the ball and try and start something. So I think you could say there's a big personnel issue as well. There's a lot of players in the team that are average. Look at your Lingard. He shouldn't be playing on the right wing permanently as Man United's right winger. Not at all. He wouldn't under Fergie. He probably wouldn't have under. Well, I don't know if he didn't. No, under Moyes, I think he was out on loan at Derby, I think, or something like that. Anyway, but he's not a Man United right winger. Mkhitaryan should be playing over there. I don't know why. That's another player. Actually, I said last week, didn't I? I said that he'll play against Burnley. And I was so annoyed when he didn't. The most
frustrating thing, though, about that Mkhitaryan is because the build-up to that game, about an hour or two before the team news came in, everything was Mkhitaryan is in the matchday squad. Mkhitaryan could start from the bench. Mkhitaryan could be in the starting 11. And I was thinking, finally, we're going to see someone with a bit of directness, a bit of sort of endeavour in the final third. And he comes off the coach in his gear, and he's not in the matchday squad again. And it was such a kick in the teeth.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was very frustrating to not see his name on the sheet, but Jose's got to do something. Yeah. He's got to do something because our midfield, when Herrera's playing, and Pogba's playing, and Mata's playing, we're doing the business in midfield. We can get the ball forward, but when we've got Lingard playing on the right, Rashford on the left, it's not working. We need Martial to be put back in on the left. Yeah. We need we need Mkhitaryan put on the right hand side. I wouldn't drop Ibra just yet. No. I would give Rashford a rest. Okay, put him on the bench. Get Martial on the left. Get Lingard on. Christ.
Don't do that.
Bang my head against the wall. Get Mickey out on the right, and then you'll see Ibrahimović getting a lot more service, a lot more balls in the box, and scoring some more goals. But I'm not the manager. What do I know? I don't know what goes on in training. No. Yeah, it was a shocker. It really was. And we got Swansea next. It's away, isn't it? It's Swansea. It is. In the league, obviously we've got Fenerbahce coming up on Thursday, I believe. But we've got Swansea away in the league. How do you think that's going to go?
I mean, I think Swansea are currently playing at the moment, and I think it was 1-1. I did to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it was 1-1. I looked 5 minutes ago.
But again, I think Swansea are very hit and miss at the moment. They're not playing to the standard that they can play. Obviously, the new manager coming in, implementing his new system and new personnel. But again, it's just another one of them games where you've just got to look at it and say, that's got to be 3 points. We've got to be taking 3 points off teams in the positions that Swansea are at the moment. Granted, they can play some good football, and they've been somewhat of a bogey team for us in the past, getting results and getting points off us. But at this current moment, with the strength of our squad, and with their sort of new manager coming in and new implementations in regards to tactics and personnel. I think it's a must. I said this against Burnley, but it's a must-win game for me. And it all comes down, I think, to that personnel. Who is he going to put out? Because in that Burnley game, as you know, we created so many chances, and again, you look at the players who were creating the chances. You look at the stats from Juan Mata's game in against Burnley. He had an unbelievable game up until the point he was substituted again.
I was just going to say that.
He was substituted
what the hell
again.
was going on? It wasn't just that substitution.
No, it was obviously it was the other substitute. Well, Lingard, I think, went off as well, did he, for Rooney?
That's it.
And then Fellaini come on for Juan Mata. We're looking to penetrate that defence. Burnley have got their backs to the wall. They're keeping it tight at the back. What you need? You need that, creative player to pick a pass. And who's the best at doing that? Juan Mata.
Yeah.
Why take him off in that last 20 odd minutes?
When he made that substitution, I just felt like booking a ticket somewhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just thought, what are you doing?
It was just...
And I think Rooney's not gonna. It's because he wants Rooney to do something. He wants to
prove. I know it's to sort of say, well, the fans have called for it, but look, I was right in bringing him back in, but it still isn't working. And I've got to be honest, I thought when Rooney has come off the bench and come back into the team at times, he has looked sharper and he has looked to create a little bit more than when he was starting, but he's still not playing at the standard he should be, and he's still not playing at the standard for a first team Manchester United player. But I don't know what Fellaini was doing again.
Maybe I'm missing something, Ashley. Maybe I'm missing something, but I can't remember seeing Rooney sharp.
No,
honestly, there was that one. No, I'm not saying. Well,
Sharper.
I am saying he wasn't. But again, I can't stare at the TV for 90 minutes straight without blinking. So I may have missed something.
Sharper.
But there was that. Yeah, sharper. Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But there was that one. I think again it was Fenerbahce. The last time he played them a couple of weeks back when he came on.
Yeah.
I think he either came on or he was playing from the start. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But he pounced onto a loose ball to set up. I can't remember. Lingard, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even then, I thought, okay, well, that's the only thing he's done this game.
Yeah.
And everyone at the end of the game was, Rooney's back. Turn your phones off.
Yeah.
It's late. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of when I was seeing people tweeting like that. But I don't think he's any sharper. And he proved that when he came on against Burnley.
Yeah.
He just, kicking the ball too far in front of him. He couldn't keep up with the ball, let alone himself.
Yeah.
Or no, he couldn't keep up with himself, let alone the ball. He
Yeah.
was falling over his feet most of the time. But I don't like to attack Rooney. He's a club legend. But it's time to move on, Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But let's move away from the Burnley game, so I'm getting depressed.
Yeah, same.
Talking about that. Although before I do, I did actually make a note of something earlier that almost made me want to throw my TV at the front room window. 92 minutes or 93rd minute. We're on the attack. It's 0-0. It's injury time. It's Fergie time. Marcus Rojo picks up the ball.
Ping.
1,476 yards out from the goal. I'm gonna have a shot.
Yeah.
What was he thinking?
I did see that. I did see that tweet that you put out with just a long row of numbers in it, and I was thinking, yeah, that's about accurate, to be honest. Yeah, not good.
Because it's funny because the camera went after he took that shot, and then turned around shocked as if he thought he was going to score.
Yeah.
He turned around shot. The camera sort of panned across the fans, and you could see the fans you could see the look in their face, thinking,
"What are you doing?"
Yeah, I was going to swear then, but I'm going to try and keep swearing to a minimum.
Yeah, family show.
Yeah. We've had a bit of a laugh. Let's move on to something else, shall we?
Yeah.
So earlier on last week, I think it was early last week, Sky Sports released an interview with Jose Mourinho, where Mourinho spoke about his living situation, how he's finding it difficult living in a hotel. He misses his family. His family can't really come and see him because of the paparazzi outside 24/7. He can't go for a walk, and he's finding it difficult. Okay, now if you're asked about that in an interview, you're going to answer the question.
Yeah.
And he answered it honestly, and of course the media jumped on it. Now I could be reading this completely wrong. So a lot of people have read into it in a negative way. To me, it's just like you're talking about family. He's not happy naturally living in a hotel. Well, I was listening to Talk Sport, and they were saying that he's laying down a path to to walk out of the club. He's just saying this now, and this is no word of a lie. You see my tweets, look back on my tweets, and you'll see I was livid about it. I was listening to it, and they were saying, he's laying down the foundations to leave the club, because he's not getting on very well. He can't take it. It's too difficult for him. It's not going as way he planned. And I thought, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Christ, he says he's a little bit upset because he can't see his family, and you think he wants to leave the club. He would have known about this before he took the Man United job. He would have known he would be living in a hotel. He would have known that there's going to be a lot of paparazzi around. He would have known all this beforehand. And then they go on to say things like, it's the 21st century, he's a multi-millionaire, surely he can find an apartment like that. But they tried to find an apartment like that. And what's your take on all this, Ashley? Do you think they're overreacting, or do you think that there's a good point here? Do you think that he may well be sort of laying down some sort of foundation to perhaps leave the club, because things aren't going so well for him at the moment? I mean, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had the best start, at his life at Old Trafford. But as I said, you've got to remember he's 10 games in, to his tenure, and yeah, I mean, as you rightly said, I can see, why there would be issues. Of course, he's going to be missing his family. Of course, it's probably not the most, although it seems nice, but I suppose living in a hotel 24/7 isn't the sort of most relaxing place or homely place to be. But I think it's been blown out of proportion a little bit, and we all know, those who've watched Jose Mourinho for a long time know how much of a tactician and how much of a clever man he is. And myself, and I've seen quite a few people, sort of say this as well. Was it a ruse to detract the media's attention from the team back onto himself, to relieve a bit of pressure, because the team has come under huge scrutiny over the last couple of weeks, and players being targeted, individuals and collectives. Was it a little ruse from Mourinho to pull that focus away from the team? I mean, if it's anything to go by the City game, confidence did look a bit better, albeit in the second half, but I wouldn't read too much into it. He's very, very early into his tenure at Manchester United. If it was a season and a half down the line, and then he was coming out with these comments, then I might be a little bit more concerned. But as it's so early, and I think the results, and it will come, it will click, and it's very early on. And for me, he's still got to clear a lot of dead wood out of the squad and make the squad his own, really. So I think he'd be looking forward to the project that he's just started, and I think people read too much into things like that.
Absolutely, and I also heard people saying that maybe he was saying it to divert the attention away from the players to himself, but I don't even think it was that. I just think it was as simple as he was asked a question about it in his interview and he answered. I think that's all there is to it, and people have just read into it the wrong way. I don't think he's even thinking about leaving. I mean, we've seen how excited he was when he first took the job. He was posting pictures on Instagram of his little folder he had all set out with the Man United badge on front,
Yeah.
And like I said, he knew beforehand that he would be living in this hotel.
Yeah.
He may not have envisaged living in there this long. I'm sure he's got a team of people looking for the right apartment. Because in the same interview, he did say if you can find an apartment with so and so, so and so, so and so, he would take it. I'm sure it will be a matter of time before he moves out of that hotel and into an apartment where his family can come and visit, and they can just get on with their life. He would have known about all this, so I'm pretty confident that it's all nothing. If he does leave, I'll be livid.
Yeah, I know.
I'll be livid because that is weak.
Who is there?
Exactly. Yeah, that would be weak.
Yeah.
If he was to do that, and that is not Mourinho.
No.
He would rather think, okay, I'm having a tough time. The world are laughing at us, because they are.
Yeah.
The world will be laughing at us, going out and spending over the odds for Paul Pogba, bringing in a Mkhitaryan, never playing him. Do you know what I mean? Sitting mid-table in the league. People will be laughing at us. They can laugh. Because Mourinho will get rid of all the dead wood, and he will bring in more talent that's at the Man United level.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mourinho, and speaking of clearing out dead wood.
Oh, yes.
There's rumours that I've seen today, yesterday, day before, that pretty much our main back four, or three of them at least, okay, two, you wouldn't call Rojo a starter, but Smalling, Blind, Rojo could all be on their way out of the club in as soon as January. And he's reportedly looking at Antonio Rudiger, Germany and Roma central defender, What do you make of all this? Do you think it would be wise to clear out all three of those defenders in one go?
No, I don't think it would be wise to clear out that much of what essentially was a stable. Well, not obviously not Rojo, but Blind and Smalling. How well they performed last season, albeit they haven't started that well this season. I can't see him selling both of them. And I would be upset if he sold Blind, because I think he's such a good utility player. I think he can play in multiple different positions. And he's usually always a 6 or a 7. I mean, Chris Smalling, I did compare him. I did say he was the Forrest Gump of football the other day, because he is, physically and as an athlete, he is superb. He is fast. He is strong. He's not afraid to get stuck in, but technically he's atrocious. He's with the ball at his feet. He's just not fit enough as a Manchester United ball playing centre back. But we did see this. You look at the partnerships that we've had. More recently, Rio Ferdinand and Manjević. The Manjević wasn't the best with the ball at his feet, but we had next to him Rio Ferdinand. So, and that's why I think we've played Smalling and Bailly. I think Bailly is a little bit better with the ball at his feet, although I don't think he's the best. And you mentioned Antonio Rudiger, and for me, I'll be honest, I haven't seen him play that much, but I have seen him play a few games, and it's quite spooky. And you can slate me for this if you want, whoever's listening, but he looks very sort of reminiscent of a Paul Pogba, the way he plays.
Okay.
He's very strong, he's very quick, and he's technically very good for a centre-back, albeit he can play it right back as well. But again, he's in that same mould. He's strong, he's quick, he looks as if he reads the game well. And he's technically pretty good. He's always inclined to spray a diagonal ball for the wingers. He's good with his feet getting out of little positions in the defence. And I think it would be a good addition. That people are talking about £35 million bid, well, north of that. If we get someone in, with the ability of Bailly, as we've seen in recent months, I don't think it would be a bad investment. But
it's interesting that you say somebody with the ability of Bailly, because it's interesting you should say that he's in a similar mold to Pogba, because I don't know much about Antonio Rudiger. I'll be honest, not many people will.
No.
Unless you follow Germany or Italian football. But I didn't know much about him. I'd heard of him, but I didn't know much about him. So I did a bit of reading, and he's actually been likened to Eric Bailly, saying that he's a similar sort of player, big, strong, an absolute monster in the air.
Yeah.
But it has the same sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not weakness, so to speak, but Bailey's got an error in him.
Yeah, that susceptibility to a mistake sort of thing.
Yeah, I couldn't put it better myself, actually.
But
apparently Antonio Rudiger's of a similar sort of build and capability as Eric Bailly. And I'm thinking 2 Eric Baileys in the centre of defence. I could quite go with that.
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, Chris Smalling, he's been fantastic for us. Last season he was brilliant. This season he's been good. But he is bad when it comes to distributing the ball.
Yeah.
Daley Blind isn't the centre back, so it is inevitable, really, that that there was going to be another signing or two at least for the centre of the defence. Mark says it quite a lot on the YouTube account that Daley Blind isn't a natural centre back, and having him in the centre back as a centre back partnership with Smalling isn't going to win you a league title. And Alex, who's also does a lot of work on the YouTube account, said that you could put a lot of their success down to the fact that they've had 2 holding midfielders protecting them a lot. And I see what he's saying. That's what both of them are saying. They're quite right as well. You can't really argue with it, because Man United have never traditionally played with 2 holding midfielders.
No.
So you need to have big, powerful centre backs like we've always had. So it would be a shame to see Smalling dropped out of the team. But if there's someone who's better and willing to join Man United and available, then I'm not going to turn my nose up at that.
No.
I think it's a move worth going for. Is there anything that you've noticed in the press at all recently, Ash, that I've been ignorant to? So I've got to be honest with you, since that loss against Burnley, I've not checked anything related to football since 5 o'clock on Saturday to about, 4 o'clock this evening. What have I missed?
Well, there is a fantastic bit of news, Paul. Bastian Schweinsteiger is back training with the first team.
I did actually see that. Yeah.
Yes. And I think, why hasn't he been in that first team? I mean, we've been playing the likes of, Marouane Fellaini in that centre of the midfield, and it's just not working. And we've been crying out for a leader, someone in that middle of the park to grasp hold of the game. When Carrick plays, we do look a lot more assured, and I think the stats when Carrick has played this season is something ridiculous with our win ratio. And we do need that composed figure in the middle of the park. Obviously, I'm not saying every game. For the home games, such as sort of your Burnleys, your Swanseas, when we do play at home against the smaller teams, we should only be playing with one holding midfielder and push the attack, push your Herreras, Pogbas, your Matas up forward of the pitch, and let's see some attacking football. But certainly in the bigger games, I think we've got to reintroduce the likes of Michael Carrick and Bastian Schweinsteiger just to shore up that midfield and just protect that back four a little bit better with a composure and an experienced head. So when I saw that news today, I saw him actually tweet back saying, great to be back with the first team, the team is looking sharp, just ever classy from the enigmatic German. Yeah, really good news.
He has been class all the way through this, the ultimate professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up actually, because I did see it. Completely forgot about it, to be honest. So thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, I have seen a lot of tweets, some people expressing their joy, as you would when you hear about Schweinsteiger being back training with the first team. But then I was scrolling through Twitter, and then the Manchester Evening News put something out saying basically he's back, but he's not going to feature. I'm thinking, well, why would he be back in training if he's not going to feature? And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, Mkhitaryan trains a lot, but he doesn't feature.
That's a good point. Yeah. And
then they went on to say that basically they're just bringing him in to train with the first team just so he can get his fitness back up, so that they can sell him in January. Because although he's come back, they still want to sell him, which would be a shame, because I think that what you said there is spot on. I think it'll be good for him and Carrick to, sort of alternate, so to speak. Before I seen that news from MEN, Manchester Evening News, before I seen that where they said that they're just bringing him back to get him fit to sell him, before I seen that, I was beginning to think to myself, playing scenarios in my head. I was thinking, right, he's had enough of Fellaini. He's realised that Fellaini doesn't offer much, which he doesn't. Anyone can see that. So I'm thinking, maybe he's thinking, Carrick is absolutely brilliant, but I can't play him in every game.
Yeah,
I need someone to, help him out. Who's that German guy I banished earlier in the season? What was it? Bastian Schweinsteiger, that's the one.
Yeah.
Let's get him on the phone. Let's bring him back in. And I was playing that sort of scenario in my head, but now when I think about it, I thought, just because he's back in training, does that really mean he's going to feature? I don't know. I mean, I would like to think so.
Yeah.
But you can't predict anything when it comes to Mourinho nowadays.
That's it. That is it. So it is quite, there's always a talking point, and the press love it. They jump all over it. Any decision, any sort of controversial decision that comes out, the press are on it like dogs at the moment, which, it's expected from a club such as ourselves. And I'm not surprised, but yeah, as you said, I really hope that he can get some minutes on the pitch and show Mourinho what he's still got in him, because I still think he's got fight in him. I still think he can contribute to the team, albeit whether it be a 20-minute cameo scene out at the end of the game or something like that. And I think he can't do any worse than Fellaini's done. Surely not. No. So no. I'd love to see him reintroduced. But as you said, it's a really good point that you made about just building up his fitness to sell him. But what would we sell him for realistically? He's not going to go for much, and. That's I don't know. Is it cutting our losses? I hope not. I hope to see him in the team again.
Yeah, me too. Only time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can't predict anything nowadays.
Nope.
We hit the 30-minute mark. Most people would have, when they start listening to this on their way to work this morning, most people would have got to work by now, or just turned us off. You never know. They might have got bored already. So I think we'll leave it at that. I'm hopefully. the next time we record, Ashley, we'll have something to celebrate and
2 wins in the bag.
Some joy to spread. Yeah, well, we can hope so. Ashley, is there anything else you want to add, or do you want to give out your Twitter details so all of our lovely listeners can follow you?
Yeah, my Twitter handle is ashboyo, ASHBOIO.
Thank you very much. You can also follow me as well, guys, on Twitter. It's at Paul Gardiner LP. Please also follow the United Stand at United Stand MUFC. We'll leave it at that for today. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll be